Hey guys, how are you? How are you doing? How y'all feeling? I'm doing alright. I wanted to get back into my videos and pretend like nothing has happened and just get right back into the flow of things, but I can't. I had to get this off my chest. This is a video I thought was really necessary, and I feel like it'll help me in the healing process of what I've been going through lately. I didn't want to do this video too soon, and I also didn't want to do it too late. So I feel like today is the right time to really get my feelings into words and get them out. I've mentioned in a lot of my previous videos my journey through life and where I've moved and where I'm from and all of that, but I'm going to go way more into detail in this video just because a lot of my life is surrounded by how I've been affected by moving and being separated from my family, basically. So I was born in Venezuela. Both my parents are 100% Venezuelan, and if you don't know where that is, that's in South America. It's beside Colombia and Guyana and above Brazil. I remember my life as a child being just the happiest person. I still am to this day a very happy person, but even as a child, I remember very vividly being so ecstatic every time my family got together at my grandma's house, especially for Christmas. We have over 50-something family members, and each and every single one is like direct, like blood related, because I'm not going to go into too much detail about this right now. I'll go into it a bit later, but my dad had 5 siblings. He now has 4. Not yet. And they all had at least 3 children, so you can see why my family's so big. I have, including myself, there's 22 of us that are cousins. So we had a huge family, and I was always so wrapped up in everyone's love and care and just fun times. So many good memories made there. Almost every Christmas, especially around this time, when Christmas comes around, I always remember the Christmases in Venezuela with my family, my entire family, in one big living room, handing out presents from some fake Santa, and kids being scared of Santa and crying and being in shock and everything. I can honestly say that that is my most cherished and valued and important and dear to my heart memory that I hold. My family always was very close-knit, very tight, just always together. We were always planning something, sleepovers, events where I would just be with my cousins and uncles and aunts, and there's just no feeling like being together with my family. And unfortunately that had to come to an end eventually when my parents started realizing that the government was not doing things properly, and we had to move, leaving my family behind. I was sad at that age. I think I was like 6, but I feel like the more the years went on, the more upset it would make me. And I'm not complaining, to be honest, because I have been fortunate enough to be able to visit all of my family throughout the years, at least once, each and every single one of my family members. But it is just so hard to be away from people you love so much, people you grew up with, people that made your life so enjoyable and so precious when you were a child. Like, that's your most precious memories, is your childhood. And usually people say, like, people who've lived in Canada all their life, they'll say, oh, I remember in kindergarten this and with their friends and stuff, but I barely remember my friendships when I was little. I just remember being with my family. Those are my friends. Those are my everything, and they still are. I guess what I'm trying to say is having a long distance family hurts so much, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about them, that I don't wish I was with them, that I don't miss them with every bit of my existence. I always tell myself that if I ever win the lottery, which I probably never will, I would get my entire family together so we could all live in one place and just be like it was back in the day. My family is filled with so many wonderful people that are so different individually and just so amazing. Like, I'm always so impressed and satisfied with how well all my family is doing, up until recently, of course. They're always there, they're always showing support, and they're There's not enough words to explain how truly, truly unbelievable my family is. I am so lucky to call each and every single one of my family members my family, whether it's my parents, my grandparents, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, every single one. These feelings are all intensified when tragedy happens. And up until recently, I had always told everyone in my life that I had never lost anyone in my life. I had never known anyone that passed away. Most people would consider me very lucky to say that, but in my head, I was always so paranoid and always so worried. It's almost like this anxiety, like no one has died yet in my life and it's gonna happen soon. And this year I've had that feeling. I just felt, I hate to say that, but like I was almost like preparing myself for something. I always try my best to tell my entire family that I love them and that I miss them and that I wish I was with them. I try to keep in touch as much as I can, say all the happy birthdays, say all the happy holidays. But none of that is ever enough when it comes down to losing someone. All I can truly say about it is that it hurts just as much as I thought it would, and probably even more. I'm the kind of person that when I hear news, I usually go into shock and have a complete meltdown the first and second day, and then I just try to keep it together and think about others and how I can help and how I can lift everyone else up. But that's just me, and I know that there's so many different people in my family right now that don't cope as well with things, or maybe they do, I don't know. I just know that I just wish we were all together to go through this together. Some of my family did get to travel. I guess I've been fortunate enough to go back to Venezuela twice to see family. The first time I went back, I met some of the cousins I hadn't even met when I left Venezuela, because they were born after I left, and that meant so much to me. I got to know these younger cousins of mine that I had never met before, and I also got to spend time with part of my family that I didn't get to spend much time with when I was little because of some differences with some family members. Basically, we found out one night, that one of my uncles was diagnosed with cancer. And we didn't really want to tell our grandparents. We didn't want anything to happen to them if they were to find out, so the whole family decided to tell oh, I can't even talk. The whole family decided to tell my grandparents that my uncle was getting preventative surgery, and he did get surgery, but it was not preventative. And I remember sending him a message saying, I heard the news, I wish you well, I'm hopeful, and I have faith that everything will go well in your surgery. You know, what you tell someone normally going into a surgery, good luck and everything, I'm thinking of you, praying for you, I know everything will turn out, I love you, and my cousin ended up answering that message for him and said that everything went well and that he's just resting for the next week. And then the next day he answered it and said, thank you so much, I just read your message and I love you, God bless you. And that was the last message I received from him. And this is my uncle. I can't even imagine how his 6 kids feel that are my cousins. But a week later, he was being sent home. He was going to be sent home, and my 4 cousins, they're all girls, and his 2 other kids live in the States, but his 4 daughters that live with him in Venezuela were getting ready for his arrival, getting the house ready, making posters, making signs. He had a heart attack before he could leave the hospital. So instead of receiving their father, they received their mother with the news, which breaks my heart. I feel like everyone will remember that day, exactly what they were doing, where they were when they heard the news. I was at work and my dad called me, but hung up right away. Like, it rung half a ring and then it stopped, and right away I just knew there was something wrong. I later found out that he didn't want me to find out at work, but my brother called me right after he did. I answer the phone and he asks me if I've talked to my mom, which is something you never want to hear, because it means mom was supposed to tell you something. And he just says it. Tío Nacho died. And I was just in shock. I could not believe him. I repeatedly just said, "You're joking. You're joking. You're joking," which is something no one would ever joke about, but I could not believe it. There was no way. I was like, no, this... He told me he was going home from work to distract my grandma, who was at home. We didn't want her to know either. And he told me that my dad and my mom were going to see my aunt, because my dad and my aunt probably wanted to be together for this. They just lost their brother. Anyways, we got off the phone and I just broke down in tears. I had to ask my boss to let me go home. I couldn't be at work. I couldn't do it. I probably shouldn't have driven, but I did, and I went first to see my brother and my grandma to figure out what I was gonna do. But I just wanted to be with my family. That's all you can do. So I did. I called my mom and I called my dad, and they both said, like, oh, ask your mom, ask your dad, like, if I should go over there, but I just did. What followed was just more and more heartache. I mean, we did console each other in a way, just being together helped, but every time we had to make a phone call or receive a phone call from a family member to just talk and pay our respects or say sorry or whatever we could say, it was just like we were starting all over again, and everyone was just breaking down. Eventually we were able to somewhat calm down, had dinner, went home, and my mom figured it would be time to tell my grandma. She had been gone all day and my grandma was wondering where she was, so we told her, and she was really upset. She was really close with my dad's brother too. She said that the last time she saw him, he had told her that the next time she would visit, he would introduce her to his daughters, because she had never met them before, my cousins. We went to bed that night with the devastating news that it just shook my entire family, and everyone was just posting pictures and really, really beautiful words about how amazing of a person he was, the smile he always was wearing, how kind and giving he was and caring. My uncle was the kind of person that positively affected every single person he was close with or even knew. So, like probably the rest of my family, I cried myself to sleep that night. And then in the morning I woke up and I was like, okay, back to work, let's try this again. And waking up to that reality is almost like starting all over again. This is our life now. Like, this happened to my family. My uncle is no longer here. He's no longer physically on this earth. And I just had to take a second before I got out of bed to process that and cry a little bit, and then I was like, okay, I need to get ready for work. Then I made it into the washroom, and as soon as I looked in the mirror, I just knew I was broken inside, and I broke down again. I could barely stand up. I was just crying. I called my mom. I told her, I have to go to work, but I don't think I can drive. Please come pick me up. So she came over and she noticed that I hadn't put my laundry away from like 2 days before. And that just kind of hurt me again because I said I was supposed to do it yesterday before that happened. The whole day at work that day, I was just trying to hold back the tears, looking through pictures, looking at the last message he sent me, just trying to understand, trying to put it all together in my head, how this all happened so quickly after we had basically just found out that he was diagnosed with cancer, and it just didn't make any sense to me. And the pictures and the memories and the messages just kept on flowing in, and you think for a friend or something, if they lose someone, you say sorry for your loss, but when it's your family, you don't, it's your loss too, so you can't get those words out there. All I could say was, I love you to every single person that was in my family, and I'm here, and that's it. That's all you can really say and do. Because half the pain is your own pain for what you lost, but the other half is how everyone else feels. His wife, his kids, his siblings, including my dad, his parents. A parent's worst nightmare is losing their child. The biggest relief for me was that all of his siblings were able to travel from all around the world to be together in Venezuela with his family, with our entire family that is in Venezuela, basically, and say goodbye to the last bit of him that they had, which was his ashes. And I think it's a beautiful gesture that they did to throw his ashes in the ocean in his favorite place. And knowing that together they're finding some kind of consolidation and healing in being together and sharing memories, that was just such a big weight lifted off of my shoulders. Even if I couldn't go, it wasn't even about me, it was about them. They were getting through this together, and that was just a huge, like, for me. Some people turn losses in their life and deaths into like a depression thing. I'm turning it into a motivation thing. It puts so much into perspective. You only live once. That sounds so cheesy, but it is so true. And you have to take every chance you get to just live your life the way you want to live it and be happy. Make yourself as proud as you can be and become the person you want to be. Because I know that my uncle would not want us all to mope around being sad. He would want us to keep moving forward, to achieve amazing things that I know we will, all of our family, and to be the best that we can be. I'm more motivated than ever to just do all of the things I've ever wanted to do and really get serious about my dreams and achieving the things I want to achieve. And I know that in every step of the way, he's going to be there with me, just like he's going to be with my entire family for the rest of our lives. I felt his presence after I heard the news. I felt it because I felt like he knew how upset it made me and how much it actually like turned my stomach and my insides. With every tear I shed, it was like he was telling me to not cry, that he's okay. I don't know how to really explain how that felt, but it was really a warm feeling that convinced me that wherever he is, he's doing well and he's okay and he's proud of all of us. One of my cousins in the States was also kind enough to make a GoFundMe page for him, which the goal has already been met. It's over $2,000 now. I think it's $2,600 that have been raised for his family that he left behind, 4 daughters and a wife, in a country that is not doing well and it's hard to afford things and live, really. That also serves some peace of mind, just knowing that there's help and there's support for them. And if you guys are watching this, cousins, aunts, uncles, anyone in my family that's watching this, please know that I love you so much and we're gonna get through this. We're gonna remember him with a smile like the one he always showed us. And to everyone else watching, never take your family for granted. Tell them you love them every day. Do nice things for them. Be happy together. Don't fight. Don't hold grudges. Don't be petty. You never know when you're gonna lose someone in your family, and that will be the day that you realize how much you love them and how much you cared about them and how much more you wish you would have gotten out of life with them. That is the message I want to get through with this. As much as this has been painful and hard to go through and hard to watch everyone else go through, I want to be motivated and inspired to do good and inspire you guys to do good too. Family should always come before anything else, and we should never ever forget that. They will be there from the beginning until the end. There's a quote I read that I really connected with, and it said, like a definition of family, where life begins and love never ends. And that couldn't be more true. So go hug your mom, go hug your dad, go hug your brother, go hug your sister, go hug your aunt, go hug your uncle, go hug your cousin, go hug your grandma, and go hug your grandpa. Everyone in your family deserves a hug right now, and I love you. That's it for today, guys. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one.